Hey guys, it's Dominic Abassi here as always for the British Columbia Football Conference, and I don't know if anyone actually listens to podcasts or if anyone even really likes to listen to me, but I feel like I need to start some sort of extended podcast version to start breaking down everything that is happening if it's going to continue to be like this in the British Columbia Football Conference. Man, just another week with a lot of news out of all kinds of markets where there's so many different things. I could probably talk to you about 20 minutes about everything that's happening, but I'll try and be a little more efficient than that. Really, a great thing for you to do would be to go to bcfootballconference.com and check out the musings, the BCFC musings put up there by marketing man Blake Roberts. I think he does a really nice job with his finger on the pulse and keeping track of some of the really interesting storylines around the league. One he did not get a chance to touch on because it hadn't broken yet was really one of the biggest stories of the week. It happened a little bit quietly, although there was, of course, apparently some attention to it on Twitter. Coach Snoop, head coach Matt Blocker, out with the Langley Rams, at least for now. The official word from the team, what they're saying, and they're not saying much, but they're saying that it is health reasons. He's stepping aside. Howie's there in the GM taking over as interim head coach for the foreseeable future. What we're thinking is the rest of the season. Unclear what it means sort of beyond that. But when you have a head coach like Matt Blocker, he's very personable. His players typically really buy into what he's saying. He's a very motivating players kind of coach. So it will be jarring to that team to have him move out of that position in week 8 in a season. That, I think, has to have some kind of an impact on the team. It's yet to be seen exactly how much that's going to transfer onto the field. The good thing is here for the Rams is that they have by far the easiest route through to the end of the regular season, as they will play the winless Broncos twice and will get a home game against the Raiders in between. So they will take on the Broncos this weekend as well, and that should give them a bit of time to right the ship and stabilize as they move ahead. I spent last week breaking down the standings, looking at some hypotheticals, how things could play out. I'm not going to do that again this week. Quite frankly, it's too damn confusing. There's too much going on there, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day, and that's what all the coaches are telling me. We got to play the games, and how the teams perform in the next 3 weeks is what's going to decide what the standings will look like after week number 10. In recent memory, though, this is, again, the most compelling playoff race I've seen in the BCFC. I actually saw a comment this week online from a fan who said this might be the most compelling race in decades, and I would find it tough pressed to argue that. Now, conventional thinking would say that the game of the week is in Nanaimo, the Raiders hosting the Sun, and also conventional thinking would say that's the game of the week because that's the game I'll be calling on BCFC TV with Paul Short by my side, but in actuality, for me, the most compelling matchup that has the biggest drama is the Huskers and the Rebels going head-to-head in Chilliwack. We have a pretty good idea that the Sun and Raiders will be in the playoffs, and because of what I just said about the Rams' soft schedule, I think they're going to be in the playoffs too. What we don't know, and what I think is going to develop here, is a race for 4th place between the Huskers and the Rebels, and they've yet to play this season. They've both lost to and beaten some common opponents, so we don't really have an idea of exactly how they're going to stack up. For me, that is going to be the real drama down the stretch here, aside from teams fighting for seeding. And it's a unique scenario because in football, in the playoffs, it's one and done. The winner moves on, the loser goes home. We don't get to see a series style of a matchup. But what we will see, thanks to this schedule, is effectively a 2-game playoff series, home and home, between these teams. Bob Reist and Shane Beatty both said to me this week, this is playoff football. We're approaching it like it's the playoffs. So we're going to get to see playoff drama, great theater, play out back-to-back weeks. I think that's really special. The Huskers are a bit banged up on offense and at key spots, the most key spots. Their second leading receiver, Anthony Dick, and their quarterback, Julian Whitting, both dealing with injuries. Bob Reist has told me they are considered day-to-day, which means he's not playing his hand, but I think that means no matter whether they play or not, if they do play, they're going to be feeling the effects, I would have to assume, this weekend. They need those guys to be healthy. They need them to be good because I think, based on what I'm looking at, and again, I haven't seen the Huskers yet this season. I have seen the Rebels. what I'm looking at is a Huskers team that's going to need to score points and outscore West Shore. Their defense, the Huskers defense, has given up 34 points per game over the last 3 outings, and one of those was against Kamloops as well. So they're going to need to, I think, outscore their opponent. Now, you'll say, Dom, the Rebels offense hasn't shown anything all season. They haven't scored a ton of points. They don't seem to have a set quarterback. And that's true, but they do have great athletes, and they've got a new offensive coordinator in J.C. Boyce, former 2016 Coach of the Year in the BCFC. He's back to lead that offense, and I think that will have an impact, if not this weekend, but pretty darn quick. The first place showdown, of course, in Nanaimo has all the classic boxes ticked off. The winner of the game will be first place all alone going into Week 9. VI, highest scoring offense. The Sun, the best defense, at least by points against in the league. Both teams are coming off wins. The Sun beat the Raiders in a game that had a lot of uniqueness to it as well 2 weeks ago up in the Apple Bowl, so the Raiders will have that fresh in their memory. It's the Sun, it's the Raiders, it's Caledonia Park, it's fall football in BC. Doesn't get a lot more classic than that. It's going to be brilliant fun, I think, at Caledonia. All the action goes down Saturday, kickoffs at 2, 2:30, and 7 o'clock. You got to catch it all at bcfctv.com. For the British Columbia Football Conference, I'm Dominic Abassi.